This railway isn't just steel, it's our sovereignty, our future, built by Sahelian hands. We're not asking permission, we're right.
This is not just a railway, it's a declaration we are writing our own future. If this moves you, stay until the end and help share the Sahel's dream with the world. Envision a moment when the heart of West Africa pulses with fervor. Behold the land, a vast expanse of red-brown earth beneath a blazing sun. This is the Sahel. It is often spoken of as a realm of hardship and dust. Yet if you peer closer and listen with care, you will discern a new sound. It is a roar rising from the depths of the earth, resonant as a heartbeat. It is the sound of transformation, the sound of hope. It is the sound of a revolution. This is the saga of a train. But it is no ordinary train. This is a railway spanning 1,200 miles, approximately 130 kilometers, destined to unite three nations, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. It is being forged to breathe new life into these lands. This colossal endeavor is not unfolding in a prosperous coastal city. It is taking shape here in the heart of the Sahel, a place the world often overlooks. This is the tale of a people rising on their own. It is a declaration to the world that they no longer need to lean on others. At the core of this grand vision stands a young and resolute leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. He is not merely a president. He is the chief architect of this dream. He gazes upon the troubles of the past and resolves to forge a new future with steel and fire. This railway is not merely a means to transport goods from one place to another. It is a bridge linking the aspirations of millions. It is a beacon of liberty, a symbol of pride. It reveals the strength of a people who have chosen to shape their own destiny. Thus, let us embark on this journey. This is the story of the Sahel's great dream, a new beginning, rolling forth on iron tracks. To grasp why this railway is so vital, we must look back to the past. We must understand the trials the people have endured for far too long. For years, the nations of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have held abundant resources within their soil, yet they have never been the ones to reap the rewards. It is akin to owning a house filled with treasure, but lacking the key to unlock the door. Consider a farmer. Let us call her Mariam. She lives in a small village in Burkina Faso. Her grandfather planted mango trees, and each year they yield a bounty of sweet golden fruit. This harvest should have been enough to grant her family a better life. It could have paid for her children's schooling or medicine when they fell ill. But for Mariam, life is not so simple. Getting her mangoes to market is an arduous task. The nearest major port lies far away in another country. To reach it, her mangoes must travel over old, rutted roads. A journey that should take a day can stretch into a week. With every jolt, the mangoes bruise. With every day under the scorching sun, they begin to rot. By the time the truck reaches the port, many of Mariam's beautiful mangoes are ruined, unsellable. Even if some mangoes survive the journey intact, Mariam faces further obstacles at the port. The port is run by companies from foreign nations. They charge exorbitant fees for its use. The regulations are bewildering. The entire system is designed to enrich outsiders, not a small farmer like Mariam. These ports and roads were built long ago by colonial powers. They were not constructed to foster Africa's growth. They were built as giant chutes to siphon wealth out of Africa and send it to distant corners of the world. Mariam's mangoes, the gold from Mali's mines, the uranium from Niger, all are carried away. This is the sorrowful tale of millions. Miners unearth precious metals from the earth, but foreign companies claim the lion's share of the profits, leaving little for those who toil. Farmers grow the finest cotton, but they must sell it at paltry prices to large corporations. These companies then craft expensive garments and sell them in wealthy nations. Thus, the Sahel is not poor for lack of resources. This land is rich in wealth, but that wealth has always been spirited away. The people of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have felt trapped. They are landlocked not only by geography but by history. They have been forced to depend on other nations for everything. This dependence is like a chain, each link a burden high, transport, costs sluggish movement and foreign control. This system has hindered them from trading with one another and building a robust future for themselves. For a long time, escape seemed impossible, but then a new generation of leaders emerged ready to break these chains. The great change in the Sahel did not come gradually. It arrived suddenly like a mighty storm clearing the air. This change sprang from a shared sentiment. The people had grown weary of the status quo. In the capitals of the three nations, new leaders rose to power. Captain Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso, colonial, Assimi Goïta in Mali, and General Abdurrahmane Tchiani in Niger. These leaders were different. They were young military men who understood their people's struggles, for they had witnessed them firsthand. They saw foreign soldiers in their lands unable after years to bring peace. They saw companies from other nations growing richer while their people remained impoverished. They felt that the old colonial powers, particularly France, still acted as though they held dominion. Together, these three leaders resolved that the time had come to end this. Their first bold step was a courageous one. They told the French soldiers in their countries that it was time to pack up and leave. This was a monumental act. For years, France had been the most powerful foreign presence in the region. Demanding their military's departure was a great risk. Other Western nations warned it would lead to disaster. But for the leaders and people of the Sahel, it was a necessary step toward true freedom. It was as if to say, henceforth, we will tend to our own house. We will choose our own friends. Following this daring move, a new bond was forged among the three nations. The leaders knew that standing alone, they would be vulnerable. Neighboring countries allied with the West threatened to sever ties. So they did something unprecedented. They formed the Alliance of Sahel States. This alliance was a vow to protect one another. They agreed that if one were attacked, the other two would come to its aid. It was like three friends standing shoulder to shoulder, forming a shield. But they knew a strong military alone would not suffice for true freedom. They also needed a robust economy. They needed self-reliance. It was in their meetings that the grand idea of the railway was born. They studied the map of their three nations. They saw how their lands fit together perfectly, like pieces of a puzzle. They envisioned a new line on the map, not one drawn by outsiders, but one forged in steel by their own hands. This line would connect their resource-rich lands directly to the sea to a port they would control. The idea was monumental. Some said it was impossible. They lacked the funds or expertise to build something so vast. But they possessed something greater, a shared dream and a fierce desire to show the world what they could achieve. The railway would be the grandest emblem of their newfound friendship. It would be the project that transformed their three separate nations into a steadfast family ready to build a new future together. Every great change requires a leader, one who can see the path ahead and inspire others to follow. For the new story being written in the Sahel, that leader is Captain Ibrahim Traoré. To understand the railway, you must understand the man bringing it to life. Captain Traoré is a new kind of leader. He is remarkably young. He shuns lavish suits and ornate ceremonies. You will often find him in military fatigues, speaking simply and earnestly to his people. His support comes from the youth and ordinary citizens of Burkina Faso, who feel that for too long no one has listened to them. When he assumed power, his nation faced myriad challenges. Hope was waning. Foreign nations held too much sway. The country's wealth was being siphoned away. Captain Traoré saw this as a profound wound to national pride. He believed the first step to healing was to restore that pride. His core idea is simple yet powerful. Africa's problems must be solved by Africans. He believes solutions will not come from foreign aid or advice. They will come from the brilliant minds, strong hands, and courageous hearts of Africa's own people. He does not merely say this. He has made it the foundation of all he does. He demanded the French military leave. That was the first great step. But he sought to go further. He began speaking of economic freedom. He told his people, "We have the land. We have the resources. We have the people. We need only the courage to build for ourselves." When the railway idea was proposed, many dismissed it as a fantasy. "Where will you find the money?" they asked. "Who knows how to build such a thing?" They said it was too vast, too difficult. Captain Traoré did not waste time arguing. He set to work. He became the project's chief steward. He spent countless hours with the leaders of Mali and Niger, planning every detail. He ensured it would be a project of all three nations, a true collaboration. He also led the effort to secure funding for the railway. But he was cautious. He did not want his country to fall into the old trap of borrowing vast debts they could never repay. He sought partners who would treat his nation with respect. He used some of his country's own savings. He forged new friendships with groups like BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. He also had a brilliant idea. He called upon his own people living and working abroad to help. He sent them a heartfelt message. "You may live far from home, but home remains in your heart. This is your chance to help build our future. This railway is for you and your children. Invest in your homeland." Inspired by his words, people began sending money to support the project. This was a new way to fund a dream built on the love of a nation's family scattered across the globe. Through his actions, Captain Traoré is showing that the railway is more than a project. To him, every rail laid is a step away from dependence. Every train that runs upon it is a symbol of African pride. He is not merely building a railway. He is building a new way of thinking. He is proving to the world and to his own people that anything is possible with the courage to dream and the will to work. Building a railway, 100 miles long, is a monumental task. It means working across rugged terrain, mobilizing thousands of workers, and managing vast sums of money and materials. This is how the Sahel is crafting its dream piece by piece. The path of freedom. The railway's route is ingenious. It does not follow the old paths built to extract wealth. Instead, it carves a new course, a new iron spine for the Sahel nations. The railway begins where the three nations converge in a region called Liptako Gourma. This area is rich with treasures like gold, lithium, and other minerals. From there, the railway will traverse Burkina Faso's regions, where farmers grow cotton and other crops. This will give them a swift and affordable way to sell their harvests. It will then cross Mali's vast lands connecting towns and villages long isolated from the world. Finally, it will pass through Niger to a brand new port on the Atlantic Ocean. This port will be extraordinary because it will be owned and controlled by the three Sahel nations themselves. This new path changes everything. Currently, a truck carrying goods from a mine in Niger may take weeks to reach an old port. The new train will make that journey in just 2 or 3 days. This will save immense sums. It means the nations will earn more from their resource and that money can build schools and hospitals for their people. Green energy for a green future. The leaders want this railway to be modern and kind to the earth, so they made a wise choice. The trains will run on a blend of solar and electric power. This is a bold move. While much of the world still relies on fuels that pollute the air, the Sahel is leaping to clean green technology. Large solar farms will be built alongside the tracks. These farms will harness energy from the sun, which the Sahel has in abundance. This solar power will drive the trains. This is also a shrewd decision for another reason. It means they will not need to buy costly diesel from other nations. The railway will run on the Sahel's own sunlight. It is another path to freedom. Chat. An army of builders. A project this vast requires a multitude of workers. It is said that over 38,000 local people are being hired to build the railway. Consider what this means. It means 38,000 families have a new source of income. Think of a young man named Ali in a Malian village. Before the railway, he had no job and his future was uncertain. Now Ali has been trained as a welder. Each day he goes to work joining steel rails together. He feels pride knowing he is not just earning money, he is building a brighter future for his country. He is a builder, a hero of this new era. There are thousands of stories like Ali's. The project is creating jobs for engineers, drivers, and managers. It is fostering a new generation of skilled workers. The project also strives to use local materials like cement and stone. This boosts local businesses. The money spent on the railway is helping the entire region grow wealthier. But a better life for all. When the first train runs on this track, it will transform the lives of millions. Return to Mariam, the mango farmer. With the new railway, her life will be utterly changed. She will be able to send her mangoes to the new port in less than 2 days. They will arrive fresh and ready to sell. She will fetch a far better price for them. Now she can sell her fruit not only within her country, but to the world. This will be the story of countless small business owners. The railway will make it far easier for them to trade with one another. New businesses will spring up along the railway, small factories and shops. Towns and cities along the route will flourish. This railway is not just about transportation. It is a mighty engine that will create jobs and help people live better, more prosperous lives. It is the final key to unlock the Sahel's great promise. This railway is not merely steel and concrete. What makes it truly remarkable is that it is built with deep respect for the culture and history of its people. The project's leaders know that a nation is not just money and buildings. It is about its people and their stories. This railway is designed to be a moving celebration of the Sahel's heart and soul. Attractions that tell a story. The stations along the route will be beautiful and unique. They will not be dull modern boxes. Each station will be a work of art reflecting the culture of the region where it stands. In Burkina Faso, for example, the main station will draw inspiration from the traditional architecture of the Mossi people. It will feature curved walls and intricate patterns that tell stories of their storied history. It will be designed to stay cool inside using ancient ingenious building techniques the people have employed for centuries. As the train enters Mali, the stations will take on a different look. They will be designed to honor the wisdom of the Dogon people. Perhaps their roofs will resemble the granaries where they store grain, or their pillars will be carved with symbols from their tales of the stars. A station in Mali will be a place to learn about their magnificent culture. Then, as the train crosses into Niger, the stations will shift again. They will evoke the open, airy feel of the vast grasslands where the people have herded cattle for centuries. Their designs may incorporate patterns from their exquisite leatherwork or vibrant fabrics. A station in Niger will be a tribute to their way of life and their deep bond with the land. Absent along the way. This celebration of culture will be visible everywhere. Young artists are painting large, colorful murals on walls and bridges along the railway. These are not mere decorations. They are stories. One mural might depict a renowned queen from ages past. Another might show farmers working together. Yet another might portray the proud faces of the young people building the railway today. The trains themselves will be like moving art galleries. The sound of history inside the train. There will be even more special touches. Announcements will be made not only in French, but also in the local languages people speak every day. This is a small but vital detail. It says to the people, "This railway is for you. It speaks your language." There is also a plan to share stories throughout the journey. As the train moves through the countryside, a gentle voice may come over the speakers. It could be an elder from a nearby village sharing a traditional tale about a mountain or river passengers can see outside their windows. This will transform a train ride into a wondrous journey through the land's history and soul. This is why the Sahel Railway is so extraordinary. It is charging toward a new future, but it carries its rich culture and history along with it. It is a railway with a heart. When the leaders of the 3 Sahel nations resolved to build this railway, it was momentous news across the globe. It was as if they were playing a chess game with the world's mighty nations and made a move no one anticipated. For far too long, wealthy nations were accustomed to holding sway in Africa. This railway is the Sahel nations' way of declaring, we are starting a new game and we will set our own rules. The nation most astonished was France. For years, France held the greatest power in this part of Africa. Its companies controlled much of the business, and its military was present. The Sahel's new leaders demanded that France's military depart. Now, with this railway, they are building a new path to the sea that entirely bypasses the old ports where France held influence. They are breaking free from the old system. This has also unsettled other Western nations. They see 3 African nations working together independently without seeking permission or aid. It is a sign that the world is changing. But as the Sahel nations distanced themselves from old partners, they began forging new friendships. They were shrewd in this. They did not wish to replace one powerful overlord with another. Instead, they sought partners from across the globe who would treat them as equals. They began working with nations like Russia, which has skilled engineers for large projects. They spoke with Iran about clean energy technology for their solar-powered trains. They also befriended Middle Eastern nations interested in investing in Africa. They strengthened ties with the BRICS group: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. This group has its own bank to fund major projects offering help without the controlling strings often attached to Western aid. This is a bold and clever strategy. It is as if they are saying, we will be friends with anyone who wishes to be our friend and respects us. It shows they are thinking grandly and unafraid to change the rules of the game. The groundbreaking ceremony for the railway was a momentous day. Captain Traoré stood before a cheering crowd. Flanked by the leaders of Mali and Niger, he delivered a speech that will long be remembered. He said something like, "For too long others have moved us like pawns in their game. Today we declare that we are no longer pawns. We are the players. We will decide our own future." The crowd roared in jubilation. This railway is not just a railway. It is a bold line drawn in the sand. It is a message to the world that the Sahel is now the master of its own destiny. This railway is not just a path of steel, it is a path of transformation. It teaches us that true sovereignty is not handed down through treaties or speeches. It is built with vision, with sacrifice, and with unity. In a world where many nations still wait for help, the people of the Sahel chose something different. They chose to believe in themselves, to invest in their own hands, their own land, and their own future. This is not only a story about Africa, it is a story about what is possible when people reclaim the right to dream, to create, and to lead. Let this journey remind us all. Independence is not a moment, it is a process, and every generation must fight to protect and renew it. If this story moved, you don't just watch. Share it, teach it, let it spark new dreams wherever you are, because the power to build a better future is not far away. It begins with belief, and it begins with us.